I'm 42, dating Tim, 59, a widower. He's in banking. I'm a bartender. I know what it looks like. His 2 daughters thought the same thing, but he's broke as a joke and I've got a trust fund, so actually no. He's broke because his late wife got cancer 3 times. He ran up 6 credit cards, second mortgage on the house, cashed out his retirement, everything, and anything to get her the treatment she needed, and then to get treatment enough to see both daughters married. His daughters live a 6-hour drive away. We went to them for Christmas last year and the year before. They ignored me, dragged Tim away when he tried to include me, and prevented their husbands from making even small talk with me by talking over me. Year 1, Tim chastised them and they apologised, to him, not me. They blamed the pain of seeing their dad with a woman who wasn't their mom. In year 2, they did it again. This year, I told Tim not again, he could go. I would never ask him not to see his daughters for Christmas, but I'll stay here. Tim didn't love the idea because my going with him meant we could share the responsibility of driving when his back started to bother him. He hates to fly. His 2010 Death Trap is starting to go anyway, so I leased him a comfy luxury ride. My brother has a dealership. He called the girls, super excited that he'd be able to see them more often without having to worry about his back, who then blew up and accused him of spending their mother's money on a bullcrap house and car to impress some bimbo bartender and didn't offer them a dime for their weddings. In the ensuing argument, it came out that they assumed that there'd been a life insurance policy, nor did they have any idea about the credit card debt or the second mortgage that the house was under water on, or that Tim was looking at foreclosure and bankruptcy until he moved in with me. They didn't realise it was my house, that he pays no bills except the water bill, man takes excessive showers, and shared groceries. Now the girls want my number. They are sorry I felt lonely at Christmas. They want to come visit and stay with us next year. Conveniently, in summer I live near a beach. I told Tim that I was absolutely not going to give out my number. I'm happy to be polite if they come to visit Tim, but we're not going to be friends. If they talked to me for even 2 seconds, they'd have understood. I'm not shy about admitting the only thing I've ever contributed to my blessed financial state is not developing a crippling coke addiction like my cousin Danny did. Tim thinks I'm being too unforgiving. They would have warmed up to me eventually, but knowing how generous I was with their father made them warm up quicker. I maintain I don't care about now or later. They had their chance not to be catty brats over incorrect assumptions that I was taking advantage of him. Edit, I don't believe Tim had any idea the girls weren't aware that it's my house. I've heard him refer to it as my house to the girls. I also had heard him tell them that I worked as a bartender for fun, that I don't need to work. Tim is prideful and protective of them. He shielded them from what was going on behind the scenes so that they could spend as much time with their dying mother without being worried about him. I know he mentioned some things about the move helping him when he first told them he was moving in with me, but the argument was the first time he actually laid out everything to them in no uncertain terms about the house and the debt and cashed out 401k, etc. I'm going to go with everyone's the idiot here. If he's prideful, it makes sense that he wouldn't correct them or intervene. Saying you bartend for fun doesn't necessarily imply that you have money. It could just as easily mean that your partner covers all the bills, so it's just a hobby you have. Calling it your house also doesn't mean he hasn't taken over the mortgage or is paying for everything else so you can afford it. Heck, they probably thought he bought you the house. I'd be upset too. Disagree. Daughters aren't upset because they thought there was life insurance money that should go towards their weddings, but instead he bought a car for himself and they twisted it to be that he bought it to impress his girlfriend. They don't sound concerned their dad is being taken advantage of, they sound entitled as heck. OP is right to be wary. Isn't OP now taking care of their dad in the same way they were concerned about him taking care of her? They thought she was sponging off him, but in reality he's got a pretty sweet setup, and living with her has taken a lot of financial stress off him. Not only that, but now they've learned dad is broke, in debt, and there's no life insurance. Funny when the shoe is on the other foot, they want to be friendly with OP. Not the idiot. You don't owe them a damn thing. Nothing good will happen with those girls. Their sudden interest feels like opportunism. Trust takes time. Be cautious moving forward. I, 28 female, have a long-time friend Lena, 29 female. We've known each other since middle school. We had our ups and downs, but things have been fine overall. Lena's life isn't super easy. She had her first child, Maya, at 16, and had a couple more before she was 24. I'm the godmother of the younger two, but not Maya, since I was so young when she was born. Still, I love Maya to death and I've always been like an aunt to her. Lena has financial issues and I try to help whenever I can. I don't charge to babysit. If I have extra money, I'll buy them a few groceries, etc. I try to do what I can financially, but I'm not rich myself, so it's not always a lot. Lena also asks me for help a lot, though, and I give what I can because I don't want my godchildren going without, even when it puts me in uncomfortable financial situations. Anyway, Maya feels she's getting a little too old to always be playing with her younger siblings, so I've started taking her out with me on various outings on Saturdays. Over the past few years, Lena has started getting Maya into modelling and influencing. It was a slow start, but she's a super cute kid and things are starting to pick up. She knows Maya and I have this standing date for a few hours every Saturday. Lena came to me this morning to talk about this upcoming weekend. Apparently things are really starting to take off for Maya. Lena has already had to turn down quite a few shoots, gigs, whatever, because she wanted to be considerate of our bonding time. But she says that's no longer feasible because they're starting to pay more. However, she doesn't want our time together to stop. She just wants me to pay her the money Maya would be missing out on if she could have had a gig that day. The one she can book this weekend is apparently $400. I won't lie, I laughed in her face at first. I thought it was some weird joke like, you're dealing with a future superstar or something. But no, she was dead serious. She wants me to pay for the luxury of hanging out with Maya. The conversation basically ended with me calling her an idiot and a money suck because she wants me to pay to bond with her kid. Am I the idiot for being so rude to her? Not the idiot, of course. If I'd been in your shoes, I would have been flabbergasted. I'm projecting a bit, but I wonder if this $400 gig is actually real. If she really had a gig like that, the proper thing for the mom to say is, her career is starting to take off, so this Saturday is no good. Is there another time of the week you two can spend time together, like Wednesday evening or something? I don't blame you for lashing out a bit. Some things are so far out of line that it's sometimes hard not to. If Lena's prioritizing gigs over genuine bonding, that's a red flag. Maya deserves to enjoy her childhood, not just be a cash cow for her mom. Also, what kind of gig does a young teen do that pays her $400? This is well and truly absurd. What happens when Maya is invited to a friend's birthday party and it conflicts with an appearance? Shall she charge the birthday kid a fee to appear? Tip the paparazzi off, strut into the party in Gucci shades and an ironic Yankees cap? Please. OP, she's not your friend, you're her ATM. Her kids are her way of manipulating you to keep the bank open. Lena is a narcissist, so just cut her off. Just tell Maya that you may not be able to meet for a long time, but you will always have her in your prayers and you look forward to seeing her again. If it makes you feel any better, Lena doesn't actually care about you, so no loss there. My sister, 37, is expecting her first child, and she decided to throw a gender reveal party to find out if they were having a boy or girl. We're not that close. She's a decade older than me, 27 female, and we're very different people, so it's not a great combo. Plus, my sister can be kind of spoiled and entitled. But still, we're family, and I knew my family would expect me to be there for this occasion, so we, husband was also invited, went. Some brief background. I've been pregnant 4 times, but I have no living children. My husband and I have taken a break to heal so we can be healthy parents if we're lucky enough to have more children. When we got there, it looked very much like they knew they were having a girl. There was so much pink. So much. No blue. Which left us wondering why the gender reveal. When the time came for the reveal, everyone found out my sister was expecting a boy. Her reaction was the reason I left. She got so hysterical and furious, and she cursed and screamed that she wanted a girl, she was supposed to be having a girl, and who the heck was punishing her this way? Her husband looked equally upset by the reveal. I heard him say it was all bull and that it was a waste. My sister's temper tantrum saddened me and honestly sickened me as someone who would do anything for a child to raise. So we quietly left. But it was noticed. My sister asked why the heck we ran off without comforting her, and I told her I couldn't. That her reaction was not something I could understand. She told me to save her from the outrage and how dare I judge her when she has every right to be upset. Her dream has ended and now she's left figuring out what to do with a boy. I told her given the losses I'd faced I could not understand and I ended the call. She texted me later saying I was a terrible sister. Then my parents called me to say I should have stayed and waited for any feelings until after. They also told me I should just be there for my sister now, that she's going through something I don't understand. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your sister has some definite entitlement issues, and throwing a tantrum like a toddler proves she has yet to grow up and be an adult. Other family members supporting her behavior will only make your sister believe that her narcissistic view of things is right. I'd cut off the lot of them if this is the way they choose to act. I feel sorry for the baby. They will always be less than the parents because they didn't get the gender they wanted. OP, I'm sorry your sister is such a miserable idiot, and what your parents said is totally beyond belief. Also, I think there's something disturbing and toxic that all the family is enabling and supporting this response. Regardless of OP's personal history or why this reaction by the sister is incredibly childish, insensitive and selfish, what does it really mean for this poor child? And why isn't the rest of the family more concerned about this? No one should have been comforting OP's sister or brother-in-law. Everyone should have been rejecting this response and shaming her into realizing she has a responsibility to love and raise her child regardless of gender. Ugh. Before you all jump down my throat, give me a chance to explain. I was with my ex, Venus, for over 10 years, from when I was a teen until I was almost 26. I'm currently 31. Venus was raised a vegan and has never, to my knowledge, eaten meat or any animal product. While we were together, we had 3 boys, male tween Mercury, male pre-tween Jupiter, and male pre-tween Mars. When I first got into a relationship with Venus, I started to follow the vegan diet because she wanted me to, and I followed it even after we broke up, mainly out of habit. During this time, I had to be very careful with what I ate to ensure I got the proper nutrients, and my monthly food bill was sky high. I also had a lot of issues with depression and anxiety. About 3 months ago, I slowly started to reintroduce meat into my diet, and since then I felt so much better. I haven't had to buy loads of vitamins or carefully plan my diet to ensure I got every amino acid or avoided deficiencies, and my food bill dropped. I also started doing research into kids who are raised vegan and found some things that made me nervous. I read that vegan kids can sometimes be shorter and might need supplements for things like B12, calcium and iron if they aren't getting everything they need from their diet. None of my boys have started puberty yet, which might be okay, but since I hit puberty at around pre-tween, it got me worried about Mercury. They're also all in about the 5th to 15th percentile for height and weight, which made me want to check in with the doctor, which also made me very concerned after I learned that their vegan diet could have impacted this. I was never a short kid, but I don't know. I think I just assumed they were short for their age. When I brought my concerns to our GP, he recommended introducing meat and animal products into their diets first to see if it would help with growth before considering other options. So following that advice, 6 weeks ago I decided to slowly introduce animal products into their diets whenever they had their time with me, but it's been slow. I didn't want to introduce it too fast, and I gave them the choice with all the information I had and with what the doctor said. I informed Venus about this and she was furious with me, saying that I was just doing it to be vindictive toward her when I wasn't, and that if I don't stop she's going to go back to family court and get the child arrangements order changed so that she has full custody of the boys and I only get visitation. I told her that this was recommended by their GP and she said I had no right to go to the GP without her, when that is not true. It was during my time with them I was entitled to do whatever I wanted. She's calling me cruel, and she's been telling our boys that they should refuse to eat any animal products and say I'm forcing them. When this isn't true, and every time they've been over, they've loved trying new foods like real milk, eggs, etc. Some they don't like, which is fair. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She's off her rocker if she thinks a judge will grant her full custody to feed her underweight children a vegan diet against the advice of their pediatrician. No judge will force a family to adhere to one parent's diet on the other parent's time unless there are serious medical issues involved. The doctors are very unlikely to order a full blood test unless they're presenting with symptoms of something. It's something I hate about the NHS. They're very much reactionary instead of proactive. Everyone's the idiot here. Learn to communicate and co-parent. Who takes their kids to the doctor and changes their diet without discussing it with the other parent first? You both need to set your egos aside and sort it out with each other or through the courts. My girlfriend and I have been together for a while. While I make good money, my girlfriend actually had a house she's making payments on. We discussed moving in together and she doesn't feel entirely comfortable adding me to her mortgage, even though we do want to get married eventually. I said it was fine and I got it. This is her house and she's been dealing with it for years now, But obviously I don't want to be a kept man. I currently rent a place and it's relatively decent for the price. Anyway, we were making calculations and her demand for my rent for her is twice as much as what I pay for my own place. I told her that was absolutely ridiculous. She claims it's what her house would rent for in the market. Not inaccurate, but I told her that it only works when the landlord isn't in the house and that, at most, I'd be renting just one room. I could afford it if I don't save as much, but it would be too close for comfort. She says I'm just making excuses, and I told her I'm not going to be paying that much. She insists she really wants to live together, but she said I need to pull my own weight. Not the idiot. So she wants you to pay what fair market rental value would be for the entire house, even though she'd be living there as well? If she started with half of the fair market rental value since you'd be sharing the place, that could be a starting point to discuss things. But her current stance is so incredibly unfair, I don't even think I'd want to have that discussion with her if I was you. OP, tell her to rent the house and have her pay half the rent of a small apartment. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. If she doesn't want to downsize and doesn't want to compromise, you just got your answer as to how much she's actually committed to you. You're her cash cow. If she's viewing you as a cash cow now, imagine how she'll treat you once you're married. Prioritize your financial independence and self-respect.